There are roughly 24 million millionaires living in the United States right now. That's about 1 in every 13 adults you pass on the street, in line at Starbucks, sitting next to you at your cousin's wedding. And here's the part that's going to bother you for the rest of this video. Most of them don't look like it. No yacht, no Lambo, no gold watch. A lot of them drive a Honda that's older than their kids. So if becoming a millionaire in America isn't about luck, and it isn't about inheritance, and it isn't even really about income, then why do so many people who make 6 figures a year retire with almost nothing? And why does the guy who never made more than 60 grand a year sometimes die with $2 million in the bank? The answer isn't what you think. And by the end of this video, you're going to realize the millionaire gap in America has almost nothing to do with money at all. It has to do with a decision most people make before they even turn 30, a decision they don't even realize they're making. Let's get into it. Picture the average American in their late 20s. They did everything, right? Went to college, got the degree, landed a decent job, maybe 40, 50, 60,000 a year. They pay rent, they've got a car payment, they're paying off student loans, and every couple weeks a little bit goes into a 401k because HR told them to. That person feels financially responsible. They're not reckless. They're not blowing money on stupid stuff. Well, maybe a few too many DoorDash orders. We'll get to that. But by every reasonable measure, they're doing what they were told to do. Work hard, save a little, don't go into debt, and eventually you'll be fine. Here's the uncomfortable statistic. According to Federal Reserve data, the median net worth for American households under 35 is a fraction of what it is for households over 65, and it's not just because older people had more time. It's because somewhere between age 25 and age 45, most people's money stops working for them and just sits there. Or worse, it works against them. That gap between those two lines, that's not talent. That's not a better job. That's the entire video, right there. And the wild part is both of these people could have started with the exact same paycheck. Let's kill the biggest myth in personal finance right now. A high income does not make you wealthy. It just gives you more rope, and some people use that rope to climb, and some people use it to hang themselves financially. Doctors, lawyers, and engineers go broke every single year, not because they don't earn enough, but because their lifestyle grows exactly as fast as their paycheck does. Financial researchers call this lifestyle creep, and it's brutally simple. The raise comes in, the nicer apartment, the newer car, and the nicer vacations come right behind it. Their net worth never moves because every extra dollar has a home before it even lands in the account. Meanwhile, the classic research on American millionaires, the kind of deep surveys that interview thousands of actual 7-figure households, keeps finding the same thing again and again. Most self-made millionaires never had a household income over $200,000 in their peak years. Most of them are business owners, or engineers, or teachers, or accountants. Ordinary jobs. What they have in common isn't the size of the paycheck, it's what they refuse to do with it. But that's not even the biggest mistake. That one's just the appetizer. Here's where it gets painful. Most people plan to start investing seriously once they have extra money, once the raise comes, once the debt's paid off, once things calm down. The problem is that moment never actually arrives, because life expands to consume whatever income shows up. And this is where compound growth becomes either your best friend, or the thing that quietly wrecks your future, depending entirely on timing. Say to people each put money into the stock market, tracking something simple like an S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned somewhere around 10% a year before inflation over long stretches of time. One person starts at 25, the other starts at 35, same amount, same rate of return, same discipline going forward. By the time they hit 65, the person who started 10 years earlier doesn't just have a little more money. They can end up with roughly double what the later starter has, even if the later starter contributes more money overall. 10 years of a head start beats decades of catch-up contributions, because in the early years, compounding isn't doing much, and in the final 10 years, it's doing almost everything. Money made early has decades to multiply. Money made late barely gets started before you need it. This is the part financial advisors wish every 22-year-old actually understood. Waiting 5 years to start investing doesn't cost you 5 years of growth. It can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you're not just missing contributions, you're missing the years where compounding has the most runway to work. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about, because starting early isn't even the hardest part. The hardest part is what happens right after you start making real money. Car payments, credit card minimums, buy now, pay later, on a couch. None of these things feel dangerous individually. That's exactly why they work. The average American carries thousands of dollars in credit card debt at interest rates that can run 20% or higher, which means while your investments might be growing at roughly 10% a year, your debt could be shrinking your net worth twice as fast as your investments are building it. That's not a wealth strategy. That's running uphill on a treadmill someone else is speeding up. And this is the quiet reason so many high earners feel broke. They're not broke on paper. They're just servicing debt on things that lost value the moment they bought them. A car, a phone, a weekend trip financed on a card. None of it builds anything. It just borrows from your future self, with interest. Meanwhile, the households that actually build wealth tend to treat debt almost like an infection, something to isolate and eliminate fast, not something to normalize and carry for a decade. So now Yao got three forces working against the average person at the exact same time: lifestyle creep eating the raises, delayed investing losing the most valuable years, and consumer debt actively draining the accounts that should be growing. Stack those three together for 20 years, and you get exactly what the data shows: a huge number of Americans reaching their 50s with an income that looked great on paper and a net worth that tells a completely different story. So how does anyone escape that? Because clearly some people do. Nearly 1 in 8 adults in this country has crossed the 7-figure mark. What are they actually doing differently? Here's the catch almost nobody expects: the people who become millionaires usually aren't more disciplined in the way you're imagining. They're not white-knuckling their way through willpower every single day, turning down every lat, feeling miserable about money for 30 years. That's not sustainable, and honestly, most humans can't do it. What they actually do is remove the decision entirely. They automate it. The mortgage-level research on this, the big millionaire studies that survey thousands of real households, keeps landing on the same behavior: consistent, automatic investing, regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of mood, regardless of whether it feels like a good time. Money moves from the paycheck into investments before it ever has the chance to become a decision. No willpower required, because the system already made the choice. That's the entire secret hiding in plain sight. It was never about being smarter than everyone else, or timing the market, or finding some secret stock. It's about turning wealth building into something that happens automatically in the background of an otherwise completely normal life, while lifestyle creep, delayed investing, and consumer debt are actively working to make sure it never happens for everyone else. So let's connect every piece of this. The gap between the person who dies broke and the person who dies a millionaire was never really about income. It was about for quiet decisions compounding over 20 or 30 years. First, catch lifestyle creep before it catches you. When the raise comes in, let a chunk of it go straight into investments before your lifestyle even notices it existed. Second, start now, not later, because the first 10 years of investing do more heavy lifting than the next 20 combined. Time in the market is the one advantage money literally cannot buy back. Third, treat high-interest debt as the enemy of compounding, because no investment return reliably beats what a 20% plus credit card rate is quietly costing you every single month. And fourth, automate it. Set the transfer, set the contribution percentage, and let the system run without asking your willpower to show up every day for 30 years. None of this requires a 6-figure salary, a business idea, or a lucky stock pick. It requires starting earlier than feels necessary, and staying consistent longer than feels exciting. That's the whole blueprint. It's not thrilling. It's not a secret handshake. It's just math, running quietly in the background for 3 decades, doing exactly what it always does when you let it. So here's my actual question for you, and I want you to actually answer it in the comments, not just scroll past it. Which one of those 4 things, lifestyle creep, waiting too long, high interest debt, or lack of automation, do you think is quietly costing you the most money right now? Be honest. I'll read through the comments, and I guarantee you're not the only one dealing with whichever one you pick. If this actually shifted how you're thinking about your own money, hit subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down exactly how much you'd need to invest monthly at different starting ages to hit $1 million by retirement, with the real numbers, not the motivational poster version. Drop a like if you made it this far. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who need to hear it before they turn 30, not after. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.